Welcome in to another Hidden Gems live stream interview. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope everybody's getting ready for a wonderful weekend. The 4th just ended here in the United States, 4th of July. Hopefully, everybody shot some fireworks, had some good cookouts, family time, and hope you're ready for another big weekend. We are here today with Brandon Boakes. He's a corner. He is a international client. He's from Canada, and he is giving us some time today to sit down and get to know him. So we're going to jump right into this thing. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. A little sore from the gym, but we're here. We're doing
There you go.
it.
So we had a chance to talk offline and kind of catch up a little bit. Tell everybody what your week's been like. What's been going on?
Week has just been busy with the gym, recovering, trying to stay healthy as I can. I had to help my parents move this weekend as well too, so recovering from that as well too. They got like 3 flights of stairs in their house, so it was a lot of up and down.
That is not fun.
Oh no, it's killer on the calves and the lower back.
Yes. In the military, we have a saying: "There's no party like a working party," because
Oh
working
yeah.
parties don't stop. So, sounds like you had one of those fun parties.
Oh yeah, it was definitely interesting. Not only is there so many stairs, but it's also like super narrow, so it's like one of those things where you're like trying to
Oh
figure
yeah,
out how to get it up there.
everything's got to be twisted and turned.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how long did that take getting all that done?
I think it was like spread out over 2 days, the Friday and the Saturday.
Whew,
Yeah, it's
good
a
lord.
whole ordeal.
Yeah, I'm sure that was not when you woke up on Saturday thinking, "Man, I can't wait to get going on this."
Oh yeah, I just can't wait to get back over there and climb the millions of stairs.
Well, beyond that, what else has been going on? What's been new with you in your world?
I just got started with a new gym. It's a little bit more of a private gym, so they have a lot better equipment and stuff like that. So I'm super happy about that.
Okay.
Kind of got away from more of the mainstream gyms, so that's huge for me. Yeah, and then just been kind of enjoying the nice weather a little bit too. Like I think we had like 1 day of rain over the last week here,
Okay.
so just getting outside, doing some walking around. I have a girlfriend as well too, spending time with her.
Okay. All right. So I know you told me offline you got a birthday party to go to tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
You already got the gift shopping done, or is that the girlfriend taking care of that?
So it's we're gonna do a thing where we wait until afterwards, so we know what everybody else gets her, and
Oh,
then
okay.
we get something like that's like missing from things that she needs.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I guess that's a strategical way of looking at it.
And she's one too, so she won't even know that it's not there. She'll just be like, "Oh, another
Let's
thing."
say, a little bit older, that may not fly over so
Yeah.
well. You show up with no gift, an older kid, maybe
Like,
you
what is
might
going on?
you might get dismissed from that party as quick as you walked in.
Yeah, you don't get any cake. Yeah.
So you recently played a football game. You were with the Tennessee Hornets and doing some of the IFA showcase stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience with that and being down here in America, um, playing the American version of pro football. I know the Canadian version is different. It's 12 on 12. We do
Yeah.
11 on 11 here, uh, smaller field. I know it's wider and longer there.
Mhm.
What was that like for you being down here and doing things a little bit differently?
I really enjoyed it actually. No throwing shade on any kind of Canadian play as well too, but I definitely think that that was like one of the higher levels of athletes I was actually able to compete against, which I really enjoy. Like I feel like if I can kind of get bored sometimes if I'm like
Okay.
facing off against somebody that's not really like up to par.
Yeah,
So it's really good for me to have that like high level like talent, not only across from me, but like beside me as well too. So I can not only, do my best against, top level athletes, but also not worry about as much like of what the other guys have to do, because I know that they're going to handle what they need to handle as well.
Sure.
And then it's nice also to not have an extra guy to worry about on the field, being the 11-11.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Talk a little bit about the Canadian style of play and how much adjustment does that really require from a player that's American or from somewhere else attempting to learn the Canadian version of football?
Sometimes you'll forget that there's only 3 downs, and you'll be like, they're punting already, and they're like, oh yeah, like that's all they can do right now. But I feel like it's really relatively not too different. Obviously, like the ball is bigger, the field is slightly bigger, but like all of the same like fundamentals are still there. You got to worry about like certain things like the kicking out of the end zone for the points. It's just like small rule changes, really, but like really, like football is football. Like positions are all relatively this. I guess we do have halfback out here as well too, which would just be like more or less like a nickel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got you. It's 65 yards wide.
Mm-hmm.
American field's 53 and a third. 120 yards long. Is that right? I
I
believe
think so.
100 yards long here. It's a little bit different dimensions. Um, and like you said, it's 11 on 11, not 12 on 12. So one less man on both sides of the ball. And sometimes a little bit modified rules based on the Canadian version versus the American version. Um, what do you like maybe more so about the American game than the Canadian game?
Well, I definitely like the smaller field being a corner. It leaves a little bit less room for having to account for.
This is true. This is true.
Um, I like it as well too. Like you don't really have to worry too much. Like in Canada, it's kind of rare to see a tight end, like
Okay.
because of like the missing the extra personnel. Like it's more or less teams will choose to have the extra receiver or the extra running back. So I kind of like not having to worry about like somebody that's like 6'5", like 260 coming and catching the ball like that.
That can create a mismatch.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
can create a little bit of a strategical mismatch when the tight end is used the right way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, if somebody can utilize like a really good tight end, like when I was with the Tennessee Hornets and we played the Astros, their tight end was actually very good. He had a lot of nice plays. They utilized him well, but it just shows like the difference of like them having him in the American football to where Canadian football. I think I've only ever really seen a tight end one time, and he was just kind of just like a overly large guy. Like he just liked to play. He had good hands, but he was just large. So
You know, you played outside backer some too.
yeah.
How much of a problem did that cause you having to adjust and defend a tight end potentially dragging across the middle?
I feel like really the only difficult part about it is really the height when it comes down to it. Like I
Okay.
said, like I think he was like 6'5" or something like that. So to where like I'm just out of reach for a ball, he would be
Sure.
just like perfectly in place for it. So that would be like really the only like mismatch that I kind of found when I played against that guy. I played outside linebacker. So like there was a play that I came across the field to like where the other outside linebacker should have been, and I went up for the ball and it just slid my fingertips, but then still got to him because it was just out of my reach.
What what was it like for you when that tight end lined up and they were running the football and then you had to take on that block sometimes? What was that
Um,
like?
I feel like I don't really have too many problems with things like that. Even for myself, like when I was playing the outside linebacker, to come up the middle and deal with like a lot of like the big old linemen. like I'm very, very much into the gym, so I try and stay as strong as I can. So even in those films, you'll see like coming up the hole, I'll just grab a lineman and just kind of toss him out of my way.
Well, strength and technique can be a big piece for that when you're undersized against some of those particular big guys.
Mhm.
Um, that's what we try to get American football players to understand. It's not always about size. It's about leverage. It's about technique. It's about strength, and so um, that's a huge piece. To remember is that it's more leverage and fundamentals. Size doesn't always win.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean it's. So where do you feel you're more comfortable at, linebacker or corner?
Definitely corner, 100%. I like having, not only like more of the field in front of me, like I feel where linebacker, you have to be really like quick on all of your actions because everything's kind of condensed right here where you need to like be going like that.
Yeah.
To where like at corner, like I definitely have to pay attention to the guy in front of me, but also I can see much more of the field and like kind of
Yeah.
anticipate things a little bit better. As well as like even in a comparison to like covering like a guy like that at tight end as a linebacker position to compared to like covering like a really tall or big receiver that's out like in the corner position. I'd much prefer that because then I can like off of the line get more physical with him and throw off his route like because like I said like I'm a pretty strong guy, so when it comes to like being physical with someone, I definitely never have any issues with that.
Okay. All right. Do you feel like you're better suited for zone coverage schemes or man coverage schemes?
I would definitely say man.
Okay.
Um, Even for myself, like I enjoy doing press man. I like being in somebody's face. I like putting my hands on them right away and like really letting them know that I'm there and I'm gonna be here for the rest of the game. I've actually had somebody on the lineup like come up to me and be like, "Do you press every play?" And I was like, "Every play, I'm gonna be here." And he said, "Yeah."
Hey, press man is fun. When you get to be physical like that, you got that 5 yard cushion. You can put your hands on them, make them, throw them off the route. That is a definite fun thing. I was a linebacker coach most of my career. I've coached running backs and receivers, but I played linebacker and coached that position. So I'm more of the dark side. I've been a defensive coordinator, a co-defensive coordinator. So I'm all about being physical and dictating to the offense. So that's absolutely, uh, I think the best defense there is. Play press man and be physical.
Mhm.
I don't like playing off and giving up so much cushion and
Yeah,
letting
because
them
you keep
operate.
giving up like 4 or 5 yards, 4 or 5 yards, it all adds up. But if I can stay on you, then I'm not giving nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of schemes have you operated in defensively over the years? You've got some experience under your belt. Um, you know, and I ask guys this all the time. Some guys understand, some guys don't. But have you been mostly like a 4-3, 3-4 defensive scheme, or have you operated out of the 4-2-5, 3-3-5? Like what kind of schemes have you operated out of?
Majority, I would say, would be the 4-3, especially out here in Canada.
Okay.
But I did have experience in doing that with the Hornets there. I think we were running, what was it? Oh my gosh. I think it was a 4-2-5. I think that was what we were running out there.
Okay.
So it was definitely different. Definitely a lot to think about when you're doing that. I think we ran a 4-3 as well too for a little bit in that game, but most of it was I think was the 4-2-5.
Okay. Now, how does your responsibilities as a corner change from a 4-3 to a 4-2-5? Are there any differences in responsibilities or
I feel like as a corner, you kind of get put on the island a little bit by yourself most of the time.
okay?
So like I feel like the inside of the play doesn't really affect you as much. Like definitely when it like comes to zones and stuff like that, you have to kind of just get to wherever you need to be, just understanding your assignments. But like I feel like the interior part of all of that doesn't really affect you as a corner.
Okay, I gotcha. talk about your experience. Let's kind of step back for a minute. Um, talk about where your football experience started. What levels have you played? Where have you been? Who have you played for? Um, did you play college ball? Kind of walk us through your timeline of when you started playing the game and kind of go forward from there. Like, what were your stops and
Mhm.
levels and
Well, so I played high school football, of course, as most probably any football athlete. Um, I was a your kid back then, so I played D end and D tackle, and then eventually played corner
wow?
in my last years. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
Um, but then I took a while off after high school. I never played any kind of like college or university, but I was always like just super into fitness and obviously still loved football. Like I was a personal trainer for a long time. And just was kind of like, I really want to get back into football and I know that I'm physically able to, I know for sure. So I got back into playing semi pro, played with the Hamilton Jaguars. Um, got out there. I started at running back, actually, funny enough.
okay, okay,
But then we played a game where I had to play receiver and corner because we didn't have enough guys show up. And then they seed me play corner, and they're like, "You're not on the offense anymore. You're on defense now." That's enough of that. Took over the starting job almost immediately, and then ended up winning Defensive Rookie of the Year for the team for that as well too. And then came back, played the next season with them as well too. Second year in, I was the defensive captain,
okay.
and then played that whole season. It was a good season. We didn't win it all, but we had a very good season that year. Right after the season ended, though, I played an All Star game with it's called MIFA. So they
Okay.
do international games. So they were doing Canada versus the U.S. So a U.S. team came over here and played the Canadian team that we had, and I had a very very great game in that game. I ended up picking off like a quarterback from the states there that's like really well known, like super big name quarterback, and also shutting down one of their top receivers. Well, their top receiver, and ended up winning defensive MVP for that game as well too.
Okay.
Um, and then I also after that was just kind of like trying to figure everything out for myself and like taking steps to try and move towards getting to the next level, but also like I like to keep active in football. So I ended up getting called out. A team wanted me to go play some indoor football, so I was like, oh well, that would be good to get a little bit of experience indoor football just in case the opportunity ever presents itself. So I played with Anarchy in the GTIFL, so Greater Toronto Area Football League, I think something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I got to play with them and experience indoor football, which is definitely a lot different with all of the boards and stuff. Luckily enough that I play defense and I don't have to get hit into the board. I get to hit people into the board, so it's not too bad.
What was that like for you overall? I mean, yeah, I'm certain it's based on the indoor game here in America. It's 50 yards usually, 8 yard end zones, about 60, 65 yards total.
Mhm.
No sidelines. It's a
Yeah,
wall. The wall is undefeated.
yeah,
Um, the game is much faster. Routes are different, especially for receivers. When it comes to playing corner, I know. I talk to guys all the time here in America. A traditional 3 step slant is a 1 step slant in the indoor world, in the arena world, and so um, a post route outdoors is usually 10 to 12 and a 45-degree cut to the goalpost. Um, in the indoor game, the arena game, it's typically 30 to 35-degree angle. It's more like a skinny post.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of adjustments. Corners have to adjust, um, excuse me, obviously, because those receivers are coming off so much quicker.
Mhm.
Um, what was that like for you, just overall from an adjustment standpoint? Just fact that that's a whole different concept.
I feel like it was really easy for me. The thing of like having so much less to worry about. In the same sense, I kind of felt like I would also then start to worry about other people's areas because like I have so much less to. I'm like, oh, I can make my area bigger and then worry about other people's jobs. But no, I feel like it was good. Like I feel like the only challenge that I really faced was like when it came to the end zone. Like because like obviously as a corner we're always going backwards. The last thing you want to do is sprint and run backwards into the wall and really take yourself out. I almost did it once or twice, like going like this, looking back at the ball and realizing that the wall is right there.
Have you been dumped over the wall, or have you dumped anybody over the wall?
So the league here is almost like very similar to a hockey rink. So it has the plexiglass.
Okay.
Yeah. So I definitely threw a bunch of people into that wall, but
See, here in America, it's just the buffer walls, and there's padding over that.
mm-hmm.
And the first row of seats is right behind the wall. So, I mean, as a receiver, you could potentially get dumped over the wall into somebody's lap, or if you're a linebacker laterally pursuing a running back or whatever, you run laterally and hit that guy, you can knock him into somebody's lap, and you might be eating somebody's popcorn. So we have a lot more fan interaction with the indoor game.
Yeah, this one is like it's like basically just a comparison to like a hockey rink. So it's that same kind of like impact that you would see in a hockey rink. That's that same kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Okay.
So I ended up playing in the indoor league a little bit and got to enjoy that. And then I took so the same team, the MIFA that I played with for the international game here. They also host a team that's called Team World, where they bring in players from all over the place and play against a set location. So we took players from States, Canada, and then also players from China, and we played a Hong Kong team. So that was very, very interesting to go out there, not only to play the game there, but like to, see their culture and, kind of live like that, like on the other side of the world, in a sense. But yeah, the play out there is a lot different. Like they're very fundamentally sound.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not like quite as athletically gifted as we were, but like they were like always where they need to be. Like if they had like that athleticism, then they would be like very, very crazy athletes. But it was a different game also too because of the altitude change in Hong Kong. Okay. And then the level of smog as well too. Like I think it was like sometime in the second quarter, I was like finding it difficult to catch my breath for a bit there.
Really?
Like I think we had 2 days before we played the game that we got there and were able to like do some practices and stuff, but we never practiced with our pads on.
Okay.
So putting them on initially and then running around like I was like, okay, like calm down, breathe.
Golly, I didn't know the air quality was that bad.
Oh, it is a lot. It's definitely different.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. Did you find the experience rewarding as far as getting to go over there and play and compete against football players from another part of the world that want to learn the game and want to play it like what they see on TV,
Yeah, I definitely found it very rewarding. Like not only, to go out there and, talk with some of those guys and like, give them some insight or, even maybe learn a thing or two from them as well too. But also I feel like it was really big for me because I got the experience of, going and flying out somewhere and, playing a game in a whole nother country and, being able to play well and be like, okay, well, like this is something that I can really do like that. I adjusted easily, like besides the whole, change into the climate thing or the altitude. I mean, I had no problem adjusting to their play style or anything that came with playing a game that's overseas.
Right, right. Um, how receptive were they to playing international competition?
I feel like they were a little surprised. I don't think they kind of like were prepared like that for like the level. Like I said, just really it just came down to the athleticism. Like our running back was like hurdling them and stuff and stiff arm, and they're just like oh my god, like they were not expecting that. Even like I played a little bit of safety in that game, and the way that I just came downhill, and they're like, oh, I think I'm pretty sure somebody came up to me afterwards and said I concussed one of their running backs. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Hey, that's part of it, but that's crazy that they were so surprised at the talent level. You know, um, I know they're very prideful. They don't like to lose, and
Yeah.
so that's pretty wild. So you did that. What came after the international game in Japan or China,
Um,
Hong Kong, China? I'm
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
China.
That's okay. So I came back, and then I had a All Star game for the indoor league right afterwards. I think it was like a week or two once I came back. They had an All Star game that I was participating in, which was just more or less kind of like a showcase, fun talent wise, like kind of just show like the league is there because they're a new league that was only their second year, so I think they're just trying to get the name bigger. But it was a good game as well though. Um, then after that, just kind of went back to the drawing board, trying to continue to elevate myself, trying to, continue to take steps up and never try and stay where I'm at or, go backwards in any sense. And that's when I ended up finding the Tennessee Hornets and, playing a game with them. I flew out to Alabama to play
Okay,
against the Huntsville Astros. So
okay,
that was the first step in that. Got to play outside linebacker for them. Play against a team that is a pro team. With a lot of talent, like people that like their name when you're playing them. It's
right.
something I'm not used to. Like even pretty sure one of the corners on my team was Marshawn Lynch's cousin. So like things like that where you're just like, oh, okay, like this is like these people have been around talent or they are talent. People playing
Right.
from there was people there that played in the XFL or the CFL. Taking that step up was huge for me. So getting to play that game definitely should shined a light on that. I'm definitely here to play at that level. Like I really enjoyed myself. I played well, played hard, and I would do it over and over again. I came out of that game ready to play again. So and then
Wow.
ended up coming back home, and then flew out again to Pittsburgh and went and played Ohio Valley, which is another team in the IFA. It's
Yep.
another pro
Yep.
team. A little bit harder of a game. Cannot say that we performed as I think that some of the athletes there we should have. But you know what, it is a football game. I still played from start to finish.
Yeah,
The way
I
to
heard
get me
about
off
that.
that field is in a stretcher.
I heard about that. That was a pretty rough game, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was definitely frustrating at times, but it is football. Like you take your losses as you take your wins too. Like it all comes together. Like you can't just give up because you're losing. No
Yeah,
matter how much you're losing by, you still got to play the game.
sure, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so now that you've done those things, you're kind of in what would be considered an off-season period, a transitional period. Um, talk about your current training program that you're working through as you wait for the next opportunity. And what I mean by that, kind of lay out a couple things here. Talk about one, how many days a week are you training? What are you doing each day? What are you focused on? Talk about your nutrition plan. Adding weight, taking it off, leaning out. What are you doing? What kind of diet changes have you made, if any? Um, Go into flexibility. What do you do for flexibility? Are you a yoga class guy? Do you do dance classes? Are you one of those guys that, hey, I've got my bands, I do my own program?
Yeah.
Um, and then lastly, talk about recovery. What kind of recovery methods do you like to use that you found work for you? Because everybody has their own preference, whether it's cupping or acupuncture or massages or ice baths or cryotherapy, whatever it may be. Um, so those are kind of the topics I'm looking for you to kind of talk about.
So right now I'm training like 5 to 6 times a week. So I try to at least get one day of like a rest on my body in there. And I'm also doing 2 days. Only doing 2 days so that I can get time on the field and then time in the gym as well too. I feel like both are very equally as important.
Okay.
Um, so my week splits up a little bit into strength and then speed, like speed and explosive training. So I do a lot of like the speed training on field in the morning. So that's when I'll take advantage of, doing sprints and things like that, just getting myself running and moving, doing agility ladder, working with the cones, getting into my drops, making sure that my form is in perfection while I'm on the field. So getting cleats on and getting out there, just doing a straight back pedal, like really slow, just to make sure everything's kind of perfect. I'm very, very much a nitpicker when it comes to that kind of thing. So when I know that there's an issue that needs to be solved, I kind of start trying to fix it right away. But in the gym, I do a lot of like strength explosive training is what I would kind of call it. So I find for my body, the best results I ever get from it is when I do heavier weights, and then do high reps as well too.
Okay.
So that a lot of that will be what I'm doing. I split it up into 4 days, and then I'll have the fifth day usually as like a cardio in gym, because I have the gym that I'm at now at least has a lot of like different cardio aspects. Like I have Jacob's ladder, Stairmaster, treadmill, the Arc treadmill. Lots of different options. The water row machine, which is new to me, but I'm getting involved with it. Always like new equipment. But my strength training is separated into kind of like just legs, chest day, back, and then arms. So I can kind of like split everything in a sense that the thing that I'm working next is an opposite to what I just worked.
Okay.
So it kind of gives those things a little bit of a rest to so that I'm not like completely overworking everything.
Okay.
And then funny when you were saying it, I kind of laughed a little bit, but I'm definitely one of those guys. Like I got my bands, I got my stretching. I just need an area. Just let me stretch out. I got one of those little like Thero guns that I try and get in there with that.
Okay.
And then with the recovery, I find like any of those kinds of things are super helpful. I always looked at it in the sense of like a Tom Brady kind of idea. Like I can't remember the number specifically, but I know it was a very high number of money that he would put into his body every year, whether it was acupuncture, massages, any of that kind of stuff. He always put like large amounts of money into his body. And I feel like that's very important. Like when it comes to any of those kinds of things, I've done mostly anything to like, when it comes to acupuncture, electric acupuncture, cupping, massage therapy. Oh my gosh, there's some that I'm not thinking of right now too, but I'm very versed in those kinds of things because I feel like it's very important to kind of keep the body moving. And I feel like for me, it works out well because I like playing this sport. I've never had any injuries. I've never torn nothing, never broke nothing, even just in my life, never. I feel like I take care of my body well enough that, I don't put myself at risk for those kinds of things.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. What do you think? What have you identified? Let me ask that. Ask it that way. What have you identified that you feel you need to work on the most to make yourself more marketable and more appealing to upper professional levels?
I think that the thing that I work on the most and try and improve the most is definitely my speed.
Okay.
I don't think I'm a slow person in any sense. Like I think I'm actually pretty fast for someone my size as well too. But I know that at those like upper levels, you want to have like next level speed. So I'm always trying to be like that next level at everything that I'm doing. Like I already know for my strength as a corner, it's not normal. Like I know for even just my like in an example of the bench press, like I'm repping 225 for at least 18. So I know that's not like a regular corner thing. That's like upper tiers of corner abilities. So I try and work on my speed more than anything so that it can be that same kind of thing. Because I know like at a skilled position, speed is very important. So I feel like it's never something that can't be worked on.
Sure. I know we talked about, from a fundamental and technique standpoint, working on your back pedal and being more consistent with that, being smoother in that, working on loose hips, being able to flip those hips out of the back pedal and not relying so much on the trail technique and being turned sideways and things. And so I was just curious what you personally had self-identified. Um, so you're I know you might have said, how many days a week do you train normally? What's your routine?
So around 5 or 6, just depends on the week. Try to do 6 more or less. So I feel like for myself, I bounce back pretty quickly. So like at least having the one day in there is good enough for me to kind of get right back to where I need to be.
Sure, sure. Now, do you work with like strength and conditioning coaches or position trainers, or do you kind of do your own routine? Don't feel like you need somebody kind of there pushing you and maybe putting you through new things, or what's your thought process on that?
I do from time to time. Every now and then, I'll reach out to somebody or try and get somebody to help me with whatever I'm doing. Like whether it's I feel like I'm very big on that you can kind of learn from anybody. So whenever I see the opportunity to learn from somebody, I do, no matter what like their standing or their title is. But majority of the time, I definitely rely on myself. Um, I used to be a personal trainer, so I feel like that really comes in handy when it comes to this kind of thing of like
Yeah.
I'm very used to going into and researching things. Like if I realize that something's not right or I can improve somewhere, I'll watch videos, I'll do research to try and improve those things, and then obviously taking video of myself when it comes to like gym or field or anything like that is very helpful because then I'll go back and look through and make sure that everything is like correct.
Okay. Gotcha. Hey, let's talk about leadership. On the football field, there's typically two kinds of leaders. There's typically the loud, boisterous, rah rah type leader, the Ed Reeds, the Ray Lewises. Um, then you've got more of the quiet, bring your lunch pail to work, lead by example type guys. When it comes to leadership styles, which style do you feel you are and why?
I feel like I'm closer to the quiet than anything. I feel like I'm not very like, especially like when it comes to being on the field, not a very loud person. I never really got that intensity when I've ever played. Like I'll have fun with it more than anything. I find myself even like when I was playing the indoor league, like people would just be talking to me. Like even, like on the other side of like the receiver would just start up a conversation with me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like if we're competing against each other, but it's okay. Like, um, and even that too. Like I take that into a leadership thing of when I'm at practices with my team. Like the receiver that's lined up with me, I'll be helping him as much as I can. Like you know, if it's a newer guy or even if it's an older guy, if I see something, I'll always point it out. And, you know, they can take it or leave it, but I'll never be one to, you know, be completely quiet and just let them mess up without saying anything. But I feel like my presence on the field makes a difference. Like when people see like I'm in place and I'm doing what I'm doing, I feel like they're like, okay, well, like now we have a game. Like let's, you know, try and live up to that standard. Like
Sure.
I feel like when I'm out there, the way that I play is very fundamentally sound. So it kind of rubs off on others, as well as the way that I just carry myself on the field. Like I've never, I don't think I've ever yelled at somebody, you know, on their team or on my team. Like I've never gone that far with it. Like a worst case, it'll be like, yeah, you messed up on that thing, you know, just try and, you know, get it back. And I feel like yelling at somebody is never really my answer. Like I feel like I always get the same result when I'm, you know, just go be like, hey, you did that wrong. You got it though. Like, you know, come back to it.
Okay. I got you. I got you. Um, on the flip side of that, of that coin, um, there's the aspect of being a role model. You know, athletes are, especially professional athletes, college athletes, they're role models for people. They're an inspiration to the youth, to young athletes, to athletes in general, to adults, to even the elderly sometimes. How important is it to you, the image that you portray on and off the field as a professional athlete, to those who may look up to you and call you a role model?
I think it's very important to me. Even for myself, like I get a good aspect of that when I'm in the gym. Um, I find that I'm a big presence in the gym. I help a lot of the younger guys when it comes to helping them improve their fitness as well. Like I don't think I've ever been into a gym and not had people that I kind of like mentor in a sense in there. Whether
Okay. Wow.
even sometimes I've had trainers that were new trainers and they
Okay.
just didn't kind of really know yet. So I would be like, oh, okay, like you're doing this or this wrong. I've gone through people's training like workout schedules that they had for their clients and help them out with that. Or
Wow.
I had this one younger guy that wanted to get into start boxing, and I just kind of helped him get into the mindset of like, okay, well, if you're doing boxing, then you got to work out for boxing and you got to change this and that so
Mhm.
that you're very specific with it because you don't need to be doing these things because it has nothing to do with what you're doing.
Sure.
So mentoring in that sense outside of like football and just being a positive role model as much as I can. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews and even my girlfriend has children as well too. So I always try and do my best to make sure that I'm leading by example for sure.
Okay. All right. So being being a role model kind of comes easy to you then, in
Mhm.
a sense.
I
The-
feel like it just kind of comes with my personality a little bit because like I'm very like bubbly in a
Yeah.
sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm
You're outgoing and sociable. Yeah.
Mhm. So when it comes to that, I feel like it's just very easy for me to like talk to somebody or if somebody. I've had many people come up to me and just ask me questions. There was one guy I know from the gym that still does a workout that I showed him from like 4 or 5 years ago, and he'll come up to me and be like, "Yeah, still thank you for showing me that workout." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no worries." Like,
So what about when you were in China with the international game? Because obviously now you're getting to be a role model, but you're getting to be an ambassador to the game
mhm.
on a huge stage, on a huge level. Um, did you think about that at all? Did that ever come to mind?
100%, yeah, it definitely did. I was very mindful about how I was presenting myself while I was out there. Like I really took that as an experience to show that I can be that person when it comes to not only going and traveling and playing a game somewhere else, but like I took it as a thing of being a professional player. Like I carried myself with that kind of image in mind that, if I go to a country, like I gotta, be mindful of the things that I do and the things that I say.
Sure.
Not only on the field, but off the field as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in China too, I'm sure you had to have had kids come up to you and maybe want to talk to you about being a football player, things of that nature. I'm sure you had to have had that at some point there, right?
Definitely the field that we were practicing on, there was a lot of kids that would be around. Not too much of like talking and things like that, but like, just going up, high fives or props or something, or even after the game, we met up with the team that we played and, we had a dinner and stuff. And just talking to some of the younger guys on their team as well, too, and letting them know like my story and like how I'm kind of navigating the waters of everything.
Sure, sure.
Giving them my insight as much as I could.
Nice, very nice. Um, let's kind of stay with that topic a minute. Part of being a college athlete, pro athlete, there's always a community service aspect to it. Um, every team, every program, every athletic director, every team owner has a different vision, has a different thought process as to what that looks like when it comes to community service. Um, talk about something that you've been a part of as a football player professionally when it comes to community service, and then talk about things that maybe you've identified that moving forward you want to become a part of, that you want to leave your mark on as a professional athlete when it comes to the community and community service type scenarios.
So for football, I never really had any opportunities to do anything for community wise, but I've done things on my own as well too. Like I would always volunteer with a boys and girls club here in Canada, as well as like other events. I cannot remember what the name of it was, but it was a fundraiser for something. It was at a rodeo, and I was helping them with the booth. So I definitely am familiar with, volunteering and helping out with things like that. For me personally, though, what I would like to kind of give back to the most would be, volunteering my time into the younger leagues of football, like giving back to that as much as I can, and try and lead kids on a good path as soon as possible. Like I feel like football is a very great way to create structure and create proper action.
Sure.
So, like creating good stability in their life.
Yeah,
I feel like even just growing up myself, like a lot of the times, the people I looked up to the most were always like physical educators. Whether it was a gym teacher or was a coach in any sense, like those are the people that I always looked up to. So being a good role model in that sense would be ideal for me.
Okay. Who do you look up to and why?
There is two people I look up to the most, probably. One would be my mom.
Okay.
Very hardworking lady. She's been through a lot in her life. She's everybody's mom in a sense. Like, is the only way that I can describe of like how great of a mom she is. Like, I've had friends that aren't close with their mom, and she easily like will take them in. Like, I have so many friends that call her mom because of it. But she was always been there for me. She's never, looked down on any of, these kinds of dreams. Like, where some people could look at it and be like, wow, that's really hard thing to do, and you're wasting your time or anything like that. But she's my biggest supporter. She was there for everything that she can be, and she'll always, tell me to do what I think is right. And she's just a very hard worker and always made sure that we're in a place where we can, have options or, be, emotionally secure.
Sure.
A second person would probably be my brother. He is the football behind everything. Really, I grew up. He's in my older brother, so I grew up watching him play football. Watching football with him. We once I hit a certain age, we started doing like the pro lines and stuff like that. Bonding in that sense. It was always one really big topic that we had bonding over. So watching him play and then be able to play myself, he's a much littler guy than me, so he had to stop playing after a certain point. So now being able to continue to play and be able to talk with him about that is huge to me because he was such an inspiration for me even being here in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, on the field, who do you model your game after? Who do you try to emulate to a certain degree with your play?
So I'm going to give you a funny one first.
Okay.
Originally it was Jared Allen. He
Okay.
was because when I was younger, I played D end, so he was my
Okay.
guy. Jared Allen, wrap him up. Yeah, that's it. Sadly, my high school wouldn't let me use the number 69 because I thought I was using it as a funny thing, but it was really
Oh
just
wow.
because it was Jared Allen.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, early on it was definitely him. He's one of the big reasons why I wanted to play defense in the first place. But now, when I think about who like I like to model my game after, the one name that really comes to mind as like a more recent guy would be Patrick Surtain. I just like the way that he does things. He's very physical, as well as maybe he might not have the most interceptions, but he locks that side of the field down. I like to think that that's how I play as well too. Like the quarterback just doesn't want to throw over there because they know that you're there and they don't want to throw that way. They would rather throw the other way, down the field, down the middle, just anywhere away from you. So I like to kind of like play that kind of game, and I feel like that's the same kind of game that he plays as well.
Okay. All right. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. So when the when your last game has been played, you hang up cleats up for the final time and you walk away from the game. Where does Brandon go next?
That's funny that you
What-
say it in that way, because I feel like I'm probably never gonna walk away from the game in a sense. Once I'm done, with the ability to play for myself, I'll definitely just jump right into coaching after that.
Okay.
I don't see myself ever just walking away from football. I think I'll always be around it. I never
Well,
want
from
to.
a playing sense. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody gets older.
Mhm.
You eventually age. Eventually, your skills regress. Eventually, you're not able to go out and play at a high level anymore. So, obviously, the game will come to an end at some point
Mhm.
as a player. So that, and you've already answered the question, but my whole thing was trying to get to what are your goals after the game of football? What are your dreams? What are your plans?
So my biggest dream would to be opening up my own gym afterwards. I've always
Okay.
been huge on fitness.
Okay.
It's kind of even one of the reasons why I got around back to football. So if even if it's not owning my own gym, but I'm just going to be back into the world of fitness, whether that's personal training or whatever it is. My life will be in the gym as well too. Still,
Okay. All right. I got you. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Um, this is kind of an, this is a question that I've asked because usually the large majority of the interview is professional on point football related topics and concepts.
Mhm.
Um, this is to kind of break the monotony a little bit to show a little bit lighter side, I guess you would say, of the interview.
Mhm.
I only do one though, but it's a very challenging question.
Okay.
There's three parts to this question, so I'm gonna need you to really lock in and focus right here. EA Sports several years ago took the college football game away from us.
Mm.
There were various reasons, and after the smoke settled and all the dust cleared and the problems were resolved, they gave it back to us. It's been a big deal since they hit the market, the 2025 version.
Mhm.
My question to you is part A, do you own it? Part
Yes.
B, have you played it?
Yep.
And part C, if you have played it, who do you run with?
Ah, I run with Michigan mostly.
Golly.
When I first got the game, I did a superstar thing with it where I was their quarterback, so I kind of got really used to like their play style and like all of their players and stuff. Having the nice tight end there, I was like, oh, okay, this is it. This is a nice team. So now, even after any time that I play, I always gravitate towards them. Or sometimes I'll play with Colorado as well too for the nostalgic part of like the whole Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter, and all that. Um, yeah, mainly those two teams, but more Michigan than anything.
Okay. All right. You run a lot of tournaments or
No, not too much. I don't get too far into it. I try not to get too heavily into the games. Spend too much time at the gym. I feel like it.
okay. All right.
And majority of the time I'll play Madden over the college football. I feel like the fundamentals and like the gameplay for Madden is much more to my par, but
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. This is true. College football is a big deal down here, and that video game was a huge deal. I can remember way back when. Um, uh, this would have been about 2000, 2001. My daughter was born. The original PlayStation, the very first one ever came out. Um, I knew somebody that I worked around, was associated with, that was able to do the modification chips, and he put me a mod chip in my system, and I was able to at that time. We still have movie rental places here in America, and you could go and rent the games, and I would go and rent 2 or 3 games on a Friday, burn them real quick, take them back a couple hours later, get some more and burn them. So the rental places were always like, "Why are you in here so much?" I couldn't figure out what I was doing, and so I'd be like, "Oh, I beat that game. I don't really care for it anymore. I want to get something different." So
they just thought you were this like game expert.
yeah, like I was beating everything within hours, and I would come back with 3 games ready to get 3 new ones. And but I can remember the college football game. My daughter's godparents lived next door, and he was a Navy corpsman, and I had Marines that worked under me that would come out and stay the weekend at my house because they were single and had nowhere to go. And we would cook food and watch games on TV. And on Saturday, we'd watch all the college football games. And that night, we'd turn the PlayStation on and we would replay all the day's games amongst ourselves. And so it's a lot of trash talking, a lot of people's feelings got hurt. I can't confirm nor deny that maybe 1 or 2 remotes might or might not have gotten thrown somewhere.
I feel like those things break too easily. I've been the fair share of twisting a controller in half or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a source of a lot of trash talking and feelings getting hurt. So, but it was always good times, man, good times. And so I always like to ask that question at the end, but tell everybody what social media platforms you're on. How can they reach you if they want to reach out directly?
Social media, I have Instagram and TikTok as well too, but Instagram is probably my more like priority thing. So it's just Bokes32. It's really I try and stay off of a lot of social media. Like I have like a little bit like of the TikTok and stuff like that, but
Right.
and the Instagram is where I post all of my like film and like anything from games or my fitness, anything kind of like that.
Okay, I got you. Last thing, let's take a couple minutes here.
Mhm.
Why don't you put your used car salesman hat on? For any team, general manager, coach, scout, player personnel director, Europe, America, wherever it may be, that sees this interview, um, I want you to take the next 2 or 3 minutes and I want you to give your best car salesman speech. Sell yourself. Why
Mhm.
should they give you an opportunity over somebody else? What is it that makes you stand out amongst other people?
I think there's a multitude of things, really. I'm the one of the most committed players that I've ever known. I know people that talk about it and know like I'm there every practice. I'm working hard from start to finish. I'm there for every workout. I feel like a big thing for me is that nobody's really ever outworking me. And if somebody's outworking me, I'm going to start working harder. And then when it comes to gameplay, like I play fast, hard, and I play smart at the same time. I feel like I'm very different than a lot of people when it comes to mindset. I feel like what it takes to kind of make it in football nowadays, you really have a really strong mind, and I know that I do. As well as my knowledge of the game. I find every excuse to try and make myself better, whether that's on field or off field. But I'm always trying to improve myself, as well as being a versatile athlete. I've played very many positions, so I'm very comfortable with the thought of football. Like I played special teams, played basically anywhere on the defense, almost everywhere on the offense besides like O line and quarterback. But I feel like that says a lot for my knowledge, being able to go over into any position and make plays at any position. So knowing that I have my true position, I know that I play very well there and really thrive there because I know what everybody else is supposed to be doing as well too.
Okay. All right. Got it. Good deal. Good deal. Well, I appreciate you taking this time out to sit with me and do this interview. I've had a lot of fun. I'm sure everybody out there that's watching or will watch has gotten a lot out of this. Um, we're excited to work with you. We're excited to have another international client on board.
Mhm.
Um, can't wait to see what we can do with your film and as far as opening doors. Uh, I'm I'm just impressed overall. Getting a chance to talk to you and get to know you, overall impressed. And so we'll get started right away on some things. And for anybody that does see this or has seen it as we were live, if you have an opportunity that you think fits Brandon and you want to reach out to us, please feel free through phone call, text, email, direct message. Um, all that information is on our website. It's on our social media pages. You can reach us in a multitude of ways. We look forward to hearing from you about any opportunities for Brandon. If you want to reach out to him directly, he gave the information social media wise. His information, contact info will be on his profile page. We'll have that up and running over the weekend, and you'll be able to access that. So we look forward to any opportunities you have for him. Brandon, again, thanks so much. I really appreciate everything. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy that birthday party tomorrow, and we will be in touch with you over the weekend. Okay?
Awesome, perfect. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely, brother. Have a good weekend. And for those of you watching, we look forward to seeing you back here on another live stream interview here at Hidden Gems